This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. Fallout Season 2 is about to wrap up. There are rumours swirling around that Fallout 3 and New Vegas are about to get remasters or just shadow drop the damn things if they haven't already by the time this video comes out. It's gotten me in the mood to play and platinum some Fallout, and with those remaster rumours, I know myself. If a New Vegas remaster drops and I haven't platinumed the original game on PS3, I never will. And since I'm trying to platinum as many PS3 games as I can, it was now or never to jump back into the wasteland and finally platinum Fallout New Vegas. Now, I love Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 3 may have been the first game in the series I played back in 2008, but New Vegas made me love this universe. I loved exploring the Mojave, learning and siding with various factions, and the sheer amount of choice and consequences for your actions made replaying it over and over again so much fun. It was awesome. Still to this day remains my favorite Fallout in the series. However, my experience with Fallout 3 on the PS3 last year was less than a stellar experience. It was frequently crashing, bugs and game breaks aplenty, and the frame rate just being absolute dog water. I'm talking 1 frame a second type performance at times. Still a fun game, just a broken game to try and platinum, and why I put off working on New Vegas for so long. I'm expecting the same sort of platinum experience here, but it needs to be done. So let's get stuck into this, and just hope the platinum experience isn't as painful as I'm expecting. Oh, and we're just going for the base game trophies in this video, because in the move, I seem to have lost my Ultimate Edition copy of the game, and don't really feel like paying over $60 for DLC. We'll just have to get back to it another day. Like and subscribe if you end up enjoying the video, and let's get into it. Now, I had 5 trophies already unlocked from when I booted the game up back in January 2015. I got a couple of the main and side quest trophies and then sort of bailed on the game for whatever reason. So this platinum journey will be 11 years in the making, but where to start? Well, again, I had some serious concerns about this game's performance going in and was immediately shown why, as during the tutorial missions, the game crashed on me. The game has not already crashed on me. I'm 27 minutes in, man. You're kidding me. Oh my, that's awful. Alright, I guess we're not doing the tutorial because I'm not doing this again. I thought this would be the norm and was pretty much immediately ready to drop the game and move on to something else. I was not ready to have that will it, won't it crash battle because it's exhausting. So I figured instead of being paranoid of the game crashing and eventually chugging along over the course of a 40 to 50 hour playthrough, why not try and speed things along? I know New Vegas pretty well. Granted, it's been over a decade since I've properly played it, but in my time, I'd easily have over 1,000 hours in the game. Again, I loved it to bits. I played it over and over again at release, and I tried to do everything I possibly could in that time. DLC, side quests, random encounters, and all the various endings, you name it, I was just happy to be in the Mojave. That was a long time ago now, but I still think I can get through the main quest line pretty quickly, which is where one of the more annoying trophies comes into play. We need to beat New Vegas while having hardcore mode enabled. What's hardcore mode? Well, basically, it turns the game into more of a survival experience. You need to make sure you eat, drink, and sleep. Stim packs and other remedies take effect over time instead of instantly. Companions die, ammo has weight, and most annoying of all, you can only heal broken limbs at the doctor or with a doctor's bag or Hydra. No more stim packs or sleeping it off to heal a broken leg. It's for that final change that I rarely ever played on hardcore. I could deal with all the rest of the changes, especially since you can still play on whatever difficulty you want and there's no effect to your health or damage you take. But broken limbs are so disruptive in this mode, it usually makes me steer clear. So I figured hardcore would be the perfect speedrun candidate since I basically wanted to get this over and done with as soon as possible. I just needed to pick an ending to aim for. There's 4 different faction endings in New Vegas, and I'll go into these more in the next step, but Yes Man is the fastest way to end the game. However, since the Legion story storyline basically makes you hated by everyone and doesn't exactly pair too well with how I want the wasteland to treat me after it's all said and done, I decided to take this route in the speedrun too, since I was basically going to beat the game with the Legion, become the most hated man in the wasteland, and then when it's all over, just jump all the way back to the save I made at Doc Mitchell's before selecting Hardcore. So let's get this show on the road. We begin the game as a courier on our way to deliver a package, but end up being held hostage by none other than Chandler Benny, who's a real ring-a-ding-ding sort of guy.
Nice Charlies, too. Give him a shake for the Ben man, will you? Hello.
He shoots us in the head, buries us, and that's game over. Well, until we wake up on Doc Mitchell's bed, surviving thanks to Victor the Securitron, who just so happened to be nearby when it all went down. Anyway, here we select our character, picking female for the Black Widow perk to make dealing with Benny a lot easier, as well as selecting our special stats, skills, and traits. It's here we save the game to come back to in step 2, select Hardcore mode, and it's time to get out of Goodsprings. Again, I'll go over the story a bit more in the next step because here I skip all of that and head straight over to the New Vegas Strip to confront Benny, making my way over to Camp McCarran, through the main building, to the monorail, and boom. Barely 10 minutes in and we're already on the Strip and ready to face Benny at the Tops Casino. Benny is noticeably shocked when he sees us again, but with some outrageous flirting, we get him in the sack and take him out while he's sleeping to regain the package. The Platinum Chip, something Mr. House is very interested in, but again, we'll save that for later. More importantly, after 11 years, we finally got another trophy. Level it up again, finish the quest. Ring-a-ding-ding. With Benny taken care of, we leave the casino, and this is where the factions come into play, as right away the Legion approaches us and tells us Caesar, the leader of the Legion, is waiting to meet us. It's a bit of a trek to the fort, but thankfully we didn't really have any dramas with critters along the way, so we made it to Caesar pretty quickly. Impressed with our ability to take care of business with Benny and slip away without consequences, and he wants our help. The Legion plans to take over Hoover Dam from the NCR and ultimately take over the West entirely. But first, we need to get a few things in order. First is taking out Mr. House. Now here, Caesar wants us to blow up the secret facility nearby through a hatch that takes us to the Lucky 38, Mr. House's casino. However, on our way to do so, Mr. House catches us and says to use the Platinum Chip to upgrade his Securitrons. This area is tough at such a low level and with barely any guns or first aid, but with some good luck and maneuvering, we dodge all the security, upgrade the bots, Caesar thinks we blew it all up, and now we can still get inside the Lucky 38 without hassle, which is important because now we need to go and take out Mr. House for real. Again, the Securitrons don't make it easy, and you have to be quick here as these bots don't play around, but once we're in the antechamber, we see the shriveled remains of Mr. House and easily do away with him. With House out of the picture, it's time to go over to the Boomers and offer them an alliance, or just take them all out. It doesn't really matter which we pick, and here it's far quicker to just take them all out. Again, we'll go over these guys more in step 2 where I actually complete their questline, but all we need to know for now is they're a reclusive tribe who has a lot of access to explosives and bombards anyone who tries to enter their base. But we managed to avoid that barrage, the second time at least, and are let into the base. We immediately start blasting, picking up some much needed explosive weapons in the process. Seriously, I was still using the 9 and 10mm pistols, which just weren't going to cut it for much longer. The Boomers put up a good fight, but eventually fell to my evil ways, and it was back to Caesar for our next task. He wants to form an alliance with the White Glove Society, one of the Strip families who are rumored to be cannibals, but as long as we talk to them and get turned away, we can move on pretty quickly. Next up, time to eliminate the Brotherhood of Steel. In hindsight, I did this quest quite recklessly for the equipment I had. I should have done the basic quest for the Brotherhood, been let in and activated the self-destruct sequence without much need for fighting. Instead, once again, I started blasting my way through, which was far more challenging, picking up the 3 keycards and destroying the bunker. Not that I really needed to, since basically everyone inside was already wiped out. I did pick up some much needed ammo, guns and supplies in the process though, so it wasn't all for naught, and I reached level 10 for another trophy. New kid. Alright, we got level 10 in the hardcore playthrough. It's here that if we have enough medical points, Caesar lets us diagnose and perform surgery on him, killing him with an oopsie during surgery, blaming it on how risky the procedure is, and moving on to the penultimate mission. We need to take out the president of the NCR, which on the surface is simple enough. Just hack the anti-air guns before he lands in the vertibird and job's done. Well, that would be the case if the NCR wouldn't stop going hostile immediately after trying to progress the mission. I mean, I failed over and over again for what felt like no reason. Why are they attacking me? I mean, I get why, but like, what the am I doing wrong? Alright, Arizona Killer. Still gotta do this stupid quest again. Ugh. But eventually, I managed to destroy the vertibird, escape on foot, and head back to the fort for one last mission. Render unto Kaiser. We're almost at the end of hardcore. Woohoo! Taking over Hoover Dam. With the grenade launcher, this is pretty easy. The tricky part is the pop-in of enemies can be delayed and mean you accidentally get flanked, but outside of that, I just use this as an opportunity while down in the power plant to grind a few more kills, get my speech to 100, and then I can just talk my way out of the final fight. Oh, and this dialogue is a bit fuzzy. I had a broken leg, and on hardcore, that discombobulates your sight every once in a while. But with that, we end up taking over the dam for the Legion, killing and making the NCR cower away, and finishing the main story on hardcore in roughly about 3 hours. Veni Vidi Vici, that's the Legion done. Hardcore! Let's go. Alright, so that's our first very quick playthrough done. I'll check how long it actually took me, but yeah, the Legion, I wanted to just get them out of the way. Hardcore's out the way, now we can have some fun. Alright, that was Hardcore and the Legion storyline complete, and I have to be honest, that was a hell of a lot smoother than I expected. Sure, there was pop-in happening everywhere and a few dips in the frame rate, but no crashes, no broken quests or game-breaking bugs. I was pretty happy with how it all went, to the point where I felt I could get a bit more comfortable taking this next part a bit slower. I wanted to enjoy myself. It had been so long since I've played this game and it felt good knowing the game wasn't going to bone me at every turn. So back to Doc Mitchell we went, not selecting hardcore this time, and it was time to do our before the strip prep. Basically, I wanted a hard save as we entered the strip this time so I could mess around with the different endings and have a solid place to fall back on in case any of the endings counteracted one another, which ended up being a smart choice that took some trial and error to figure out, but I'll talk about that later. In the meantime though, in this step, I wanted to avoid entering the strip for as long as possible. I didn't want to have to replay too much content to carry over my goodies and levels from ending to ending, and so this time I basically did everything else. I completed a bunch of side quests, recruited companions, explored each location as much as I could, leveled up, and the big grind for this platinum, get all the 10k trophies, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But first things first, it was time to play some Caravan. We need to win 30 games of a card game called Caravan, and lucky for us, Ricky in Good Springs lets us grind this trophy out straight away. Caravan is pretty simple once you know the aim. You have 3 rows of cards, or caravans, and you take it in turns, placing 1 card at a time with your aim to get 2 of those rows to add up to between 21 and 26 apiece. You just need to do that before your opponent. It's that simple. You have cards like the Jack, which takes cards away from a pile, or the King, which doubles a card's value, but again, you're just trying to get between 21 and 26. There's not much to it, and after finishing with a record of 30 and 1, we get our 2 trophies and move along. Know when to fold them. Alright, that's 3 wins of Caravan. I think I sort of get the gist of it, but yeah, I mean, not too bad. We're just gonna have to win 27 more times, then we can move on. Alright, that's Caravan done. Caravan Master. Yeah, that one's sort of overhyped. Caravan's pretty easy to get the hang of. Just aim for 21 to 26. Don't go over that. Get them in 2 columns. It's not that hard. With our gambling days over for now, it was time to hit the road and find Benny. Obviously, we know where he is, but following the actual quest, we can pick up some handy additions along the way, plus the XP wouldn't go astray. So we head off to Prim. Now basically, all these towns play out the same in regards to Benny. Yeah, I saw him pass through, here's where he might be off to. Just saying that now because a lot of what we do in the meantime doesn't have much to do with Benny, it's usually just a quick convo. Anyway, in Prim, the town is under attack from the powder gangers, prisoners who got too much access to explosives, and there's no sheriff in town to stop them. So it's up to us to stop the gang and then find a permanent solution in law enforcement. I went the NCR route here. I wanted to get in their good books early, and I needed to head to their outpost anyway for a companion later, so for me it was a no-brainer. I just needed to do a few quick quests in the meantime because my speech was a bit low to get the quest done as soon as possible, which is where I stumbled across Thomas, a very important character for a very grindy quest we'll get to soon. For now, all you need to know is I tricked him out of his treasure and moved along to Nipton, found Spider-Man celebrating his lottery win.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did! Smell that air! Couldn't you just drink it like booze?
And the Legion, well, doing Legion things. They let me leave if I promised to spread the good word. I did not. And with that, I leveled up, got my speech level a bit higher, and got Prim under NCR protection. With our job done in Prim, it was off to Novak, where to get more information on Benny, we needed to make a detour to the old Repcon test site and get rid of the ghouls. We already unlocked a trophy back in 2015 for completing this quest, but Come Fly With Me is a great side quest. One of my favorites in the series, so I had to complete it regardless. Basically, the ghouls here believe the spaceships are their ticket off the wasteland to a better place, and right or wrong, we're gonna help them try. The only real hurdle here is dealing with the Nightkin, the stealth boy obsessed super mutants, but one speech check and a shipping document later, we avoid the fight with them too, and after setting up the ships, the ghouls take off and we can learn where Benny was headed to next. But before taking off, it was time to recruit our first companion. There's a total of 8 companions in the game and we need to collect them all, and Boone seemed like the best place to start. Plus, I love his quest of finding out who sold out his wife and getting some head-exploding justice. Anyway, the next stop on our trails was Boulder City, where the NCR and the Great Khans are in a stalemate for the town. But as usual, one quick skill check to ensure the Khans can leave without incident, and we have Benny's location in the books. And now it was time for the real detours to begin. We had a lot to do before finally entering the strip. How much to do? Well, roughly about 15 hours worth of gameplay. I had a lot on my plate. I had specific side missions to look out for, companions to recruit, trying to butter up certain factions to make the ending process go a lot smoother, completing skill checks, finding as many locations as possible, looking out for blue star sunset sarsaparilla caps, snow globes, trying to save my caps up for certain upgrades, and the biggest grind of them all, the 10,000 grinds. I won't go over every single step I took here because of the randomness to my madness here, and honestly, I was just going with the flow. A lot of what I was doing was more to get some XP and revisit some beloved quests and storylines than for anything trophy related, and it didn't help when my process was as follows. Start a quest here, travel across the map for something, start a new quest by accident, start working towards that. You get the idea. So instead, I'm going to hit the major beats and we'll fill in the blanks when relevant. First off, it was time to get the old power plant back up and running again. That lucky old sun is a pretty quick and easy quest to complete provided you have the right skills. You need a good amount of science and some repair, but in a few quick steps we reroute the solar panels, head inside to restart the generator, and distribute the power as we see fit. Oh, and opt out of the weapon. I chose to spread it across the wasteland, but I do have trouble playing the bad guy in RPGs, so expect that going forward. There we go, that lucky old sun. Ooh, Jesus, I'm blind. That one, yeah, we had to do a little bit of mucking around for that one because I had to level up a couple of times, but if you come with the right stats, this is, yeah, pretty quick one you can smash out. After that, I decided to head to Freeside, getting 2 trophies along the way for repairing 30 items, which is an absolute gimme unless you like your weapons jamming. Oh, that is a trophy. Jury rigger. Alright, that's just for fixing up some weapons, which you do heaps, so that's a gimme. And discovering 50 locations. Walker of the Mojave. Alright, that's 50, we need 75 more. In Freeside, it was time to get ourselves acquainted with the Kings, the Elvis impersonators who believe him to be some sort of god and mimic him as a result. The Kings are having some problems and we need to help them out, first by seeing why they're losing so many customers to one bodyguard, he's faking heroics, and then quell some unrest between the Kings and the NCR over different attacks. However, in the meantime, this is one of those sidetrack moments because the King lets us have Rex tag along, his cyborg dog who's having some serious brain issues, and I made haste to try and go fix it. This is where I did a lot of those quests I was talking about that aren't really for trophies, but are good fun and well worth experiencing, like finding Rex a new brain, helping the super mutant town of Jacobstown get some peace and help them with the Night Stalker problem, doing odd jobs for the Crimson Caravan, which are great for some coin, discovering a conspiracy with Cass about her burnt down caravan, exploring a plant-infested vault looking for answers, and accepting the quest from Festus in the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory for the quest Legend of the Star, so I could keep track of the 50 bottle caps I needed. There was a lot going on. A lot of companions being recruited to the point when I finally went back to the Kings to smooth things over with them and the NCR and getting in their good graces. GI Blues. Alright, that was a fun quest. That goes for a while, but Jesus, that XP is worth it. I finally grabbed the final companion I needed with old granny super mutant Lily. I'd picked up the rest along the way as I was passing by different areas, with Rex, Arcade, and Boone being some of my favorites. Oh, thank God. The whole gang's here. Alright, that's all the companions done. From this point, with the Kings on my side, I decided to lock in and grind out one of the more annoying quests in the game. Finding 50 star bottle caps of Sunset Sarsaparilla. You can either find these in the world or by luck, grab some after drinking a few bottles. I got around 30 to 40 with some luck from finding a whole lot of unopened bottles and stealing or fooling some people out of their caps, but I didn't want to leave it all up to luck. So I looked into the locations of the remaining 10 and went across the wasteland in search of these damn caps. It was a pretty boring process and the reward really isn't worth it, but we learned a good lesson in time investment, picked 25 locks in the process, got a trophy to boot for completing it, and hit level 20 after it was all said and done, so not too shabby. No tumbler fumbler. Oh, shivers. Yeah, 25 lockpicks, nice. Alright, I just need 20, I think I need like 15 more computers done. Alright, that's a valuable lesson. Is that the... Okay, cool. The Legend of the Star. Basically, you wasted your time. The valuable lesson is, what the hell are you doing? But it's done. Oh, up and comer. Oh, right, for hitting level 20. I was like, what the hell is that for? Alright, cool. Then it was off to gain the Boomers' trust, the explosive maniacs we slaughtered in step 1. This time we need to help them out, doing odd jobs around the base like learning their history or clearing out an ant's nest, but it's all to get the big mission. Raising a lost bomber below a lake. With a quick speech check, gaining the rebreather so we can breathe underwater, which is pretty important in this quest, and a few quick deployables underneath the plane, and we're done. The Boomers idolize us and will help us out with whatever we may need. Oh, and during this I unlocked the trophy for inflicting 10,000 damage with energy weapons, which I'd been using for a while now, but we're almost at that full grind, so I'll save the full explanation for then. Of course. Blast Mastery. Alright, that's for energy weapons? I'm pretty sure. I think there's one for guns. I didn't expect to get that, but I will take it. Because we're going to have to do a lot of 10k crap for this bloody platinum. Later. Volley! I think that's how you say it. Anyway, that's the Boomers. Done, ready to side with, or be killed by? I forget how the endings pan out, but it feels good to actually help them, because the Legion, we did not. Anyway, the last quest I needed to complete before entering the strip was Return to Sender, a quest with the NCR to investigate the Ranger bases due to some very strange reports coming in. Turns out they're all bogus, made up to try and keep the fighting spirit alive, but when we go to turn the culprit in, well, they choose to head to a better place.
That shot came from the chief's office.
Okay. Return to sender. Oh god, that one's a bit of a runaround quest. It's not my favorite, but I mean, in terms of the story, it is interesting. It's just actual gameplay wise, it's go to this ranger camp, that he's lying. Confront him. So that was all the questing done for now, and I was almost ready to head into the strip for the final phase of this platinum journey. There's just one problem. We need to get 10,000 damage with guns, explosives, unarmed weapons, and melee weapons, as well as sell $10,000 worth of stuff and heal 10,000 points of health with both stim packs and food. This is the biggest grind of the whole platinum experience. It is genuinely miserable and brain numbing. I'm sure the intention was to encourage playing the game through in new ways every time, but I'm here to do this in one playthrough. I don't want to start a melee build or make sure I heal enough along the way with food. Again, energy weapons for me came naturally, and $10,000 worth of stuff sold wasn't too bad either. You run Bartertown. Alright, sold $10,000 worth of stuff. Take that. Now I need to... Do I do the weapon stuff first, or do I go after the healing? Hell, the weapon ones, while not great, at least have a quick method to repeat over and over again. Head over to the arena in the Thorn, fight rat scorpions over and over again, get some caps along the way, and gradually increase your total damage with each weapon type. Not the fastest way, I'm sure, but an easy guaranteed way to knock those out. The healing ones are just evil. Stim packs aren't cheap, and gathering that much food to get this trophy is infuriating. I had to get in the good books for the followers just to unlock a safe house near Jacobstown, just for a chance at these fridges that never run out of food to even have a chance. It's just boring, and while I can handle the weapon related ones because they can encourage different playstyles, healing was not it and genuinely miserable to complete. But after a good few hours of straight grinding with the pure intent of dealing damage and healing, we got it done. Lead dealer, alright, that's 10k with guns. Oh my god, that bloody fridge is a lifesaver. Desert survivalist. Holy crap, that is such a grind. I swear I've done this trip to the old lake to, you know, have a swim at least 10 times, being like, oh, this will give me a good chunk, and it gives me nothing. So thank goodness for that fridge, I finally am set free. Love the bomb. Another one that took a little longer than I was expecting, honestly, but not too bad. The weapon ones I wasn't as worried about. It's the healing that's just taking forever. Old time brawler. Alright, that's unarmed. I think we just have melee weapons to go. I hope we do, because I am getting a little tired of this grind, which, you know, I'm kind of putting on myself. I mean, you can just go through the game and, you know, do that. I mean, I'm sure the intention was to have this be like individual playthroughs type stuff, but I don't got time for that. Simply amazing. Alright, that's 10k healing. All I've got left is 10k melee damage. New Vegas Samurai. That's 10k melee damage. That's all the 10k trophies in the base game. I know there's a DLC trophy which, you know, we'll get to one day, but yeah, for now I'm done with this stupid 10k grind. I have to just double check, but I'm pretty sure we can finally progress the story. I had enough caps to splurge on some weapon mods and discovered my 125th location, and it was time to finally enter the strip and begin the final step in this journey. Mod machine. That one is an expensive trophy to go after. I'm reloading a save because I had so many caps and and now I don't really have any, so I'm gonna need my caps back to start gambling. Master of the Mojave. Alright, that's 125 locations. Figured I'd just quickly clean that up because I had barely any left. Okay, now let's, for real, continue the story, alright? It's been like 25 hours. We still had a few trophies to go before the platinum would finally be ours, but the rest have to be done in the strip. And again, I wanted a hard save here so that if anything happened, a quest broke, I made a big mistake, whatever, I had somewhere to go before it went to hell. So we quickly take out Benny once again, thanks to Black Widow, and here we have our choices. We have Yes Man, a Securitron Benny reprogrammed to take over the wasteland with him, Mr. House, the unknown power behind the strip, hidden away in the Lucky 38, 38, and the NCR, who are the quote-unquote good guys, facing off against the Legion. For this first ending, I decided to help out Mr. House, but not before getting back into some gambling. We needed to play 10 games of roulette, 10 games on the slots, and 10 games of blackjack. Don't need to win, just play. Thank goodness, because roulette and the slots were terrible for me. Little wheel. Alright, thank God it's not win 10 rounds of roulette, because I was terrible at that. One-armed bandit. Alright, that was a little better than roulette, but not by much. Hopefully blackjack turns our fate, because we need to earn enough money to get kicked out of this place. Blackjack, on the other hand, is almost a free win if you have high luck, which is good because we need to be banned from the 3 casinos for another trophy. It's not a guaranteed win if you have high luck, but it's a whole lot easier. More often than not, if you have a 10 or 11 on the board, for example, you'll get a 10 or ace with your next card and get the easy win. So just play the cards you're dealt, and more often than not, you'll get enough winnings to be banned from gambling across Vegas. Double down. Nice. Alright. I'm assuming that's for playing 10 of just blackjack, which I am much better at. The courier who broke the bank. Alright. We've been kicked out of all casinos, so no more gambling. While I was in my sinning ways, I also used the Vault 21 gift shop to grind out my 50 pickpockets. I'm not a big pickpocketing sort of guy in these games unless it makes a quest go by quicker, so here you can steal the infinite gum, save every few successful attempts in case you get busted, and be on your way. Artful pocketer. Alright, that is a little annoying, but I don't pickpocket in these games, so we kind of just have to grind it out. Grabbing the final snow globe here as well, just to end another collectible grind. Globe Trotter. Yeah, it's a lot easier than the old bobbleheads. 7 snow globes is, yeah. I mean, it took us so long to get this one. I've had like 5 forever. But obviously I wasn't going to the strips, so I couldn't get the last 2. From here, I started the final side quest trophy we needed, Talent Pool, which is pretty simple. Just go to the 4 different performers and convince them to come play at the Tops Casino. Again, with high speech, it's a gimme, just like getting 50 successful speech checks, because if I can get out of a situation with my words, I'll take it. Outstanding orator. Alright, that's speech done. I think the only skill left is hacking computers, I hope. Talent pool. Alright, last side mission done. Oh, I feel like every time I say this, but now we should be up to the endings, I think. And with all that busy work, it was really onto the endings now. First things first, for Mr. House, we need to head over to the Legion Fort to upgrade the Securitrons with the Platinum chip. Since we hadn't pissed them off yet, they let us in no problem, and my science this time was high enough to disable the security, so this was a walk in the park. Then it was on to getting the boomers to support our attack with Mr. House on Hoover Dam. Again, we butted them up already, so this was a quick conversation. Then it was time for something different. One of the Strip's families, the Omertas, are up to something, and we need to find out what they're doing so we can either stop it or at least be prepared for it. We quickly find out with little digging that they're siding with the Legion, and that can't happen, so we stop their operations by destroying the guns and taking out the 2 head honchos. The boss. That's level 30 done. Unlike Fallout 3, you don't have to worry about karma or any of that crap. Can play however we want, and yeah, keep the story moving. After that was taken care of, it was back to the familiar, taking out the Brotherhood of Steel, which, since I already visited them and gained entry into the bunker, was much simpler to destroy. Hell, with 100 science behind me, I didn't even need the destruction keycards. I just hacked it, which was my 25th hack terminal complete, set the bunker to blow, and got the hell out. Hey, let's go! Hack the Mojave. Alright, I knew it would pop up in the story, I just didn't know where that last computer would be. Turns out the self-destruct computer counts. With the Brotherhood no longer, it was time to save the president of the NCR from Legion assassins in what I'd learn later is a very buggy quest. But I digress. There's 3 attacks we need to stop here. First is disarming the bomb on the vertibird, then taking out the sniper on the tower behind the stage, and finally, if need be, I only had this happen once, but the engineer can charge the stage and take him out mono a mono. Once you know what to look out for, this is all pretty easy to stop though. But damn, is it a hell of a long speech to sit through. You'll know it when it happens. I feel like this guy's supposed to do something. Maybe if you disarm the bomb, he doesn't bother? I don't know. Seems like a waste to just stand there. With the Legion's plans foiled, we quickly headed down to the NCR power station to boost Mr. House's broadcast array, and now it was time for the assault on Hoover Dam. The house always wins. Alright, we got one last quest, and then we've completed...
Install the override chip.
Excuse me, I'm talking. And then I think we'll do Yes Man and then the NCR. I'm not sure how far I'll have to go back. I'm hoping I've kind of set it up where I don't have to go too far. Except this time we're not trying to destroy the NCR, but while they're distracted, hack into the dam's power to boot up all our Securitrons. With that done, we head over to Leggett's camp, convince him to run away. The NCR think they've won, only to be surrounded by Mr. House and the Securitrons, taking the dam for Vegas and kicking the NCR out. All or nothing. Alright, that's 2 out of 4 endings. 2 to go. Next up was Yes Man, who is pretty much the same as Mr. House, except for needing to kill House. But it's the same concept. In fact, I just reloaded after the power station quest, took out Mr. House, and almost immediately jumped back into the Hoover Dam fight, this time with Yes Man at my side. Wildcard. Alright, that's easy. Basically just booted straight into this ending. Yes Man is my favorite ending just because of this goofy scene here. But it's the same thing. Hack the dam, convince the Legion to leave, and pull the rug out from the NCR. No gods, no masters, 3 out of 4. Yes Man's probably my favorite of the endings just because it can be so goofy. That just left me with the NCR's ending left, and yeah, this one was a pain to complete. I tried reloading saves from various starting points before the President, before destroying the Brotherhood, because it's pretty similar to Mr. House's path as well. But every time I'd save President Kimball and just get the same thing happen. Colonel Moore wouldn't acknowledge the mission was done. The quest was broken, I couldn't figure out how to fix it, and it was really starting to frustrate me. Turns out the solution was there the whole time. Go back to the first save on the strip and don't talk to House or Yes Man. Just complete the NCR side of things. Again though, it's the same sort of thing. Recruit the Boomers, smooth things over with the Kings, which we'd already done, wipe out or recruit the Great Khans, which I'd done too many times at this point and it was annoying, so I just wiped them out on the successful run, take out the Omerta problem, take out Mr. House, take out the Brotherhood, save the President again, and finally it worked. Colonel Moore let me finally move on and begin the fight for Hoover Dam. For the Republic, we have 1 trophy left. Oh, this NCR stuff has taken forever. This ending is more simple, like the Legion. We're just looking to fight the Legion, push them back to camp, and with 1 more speech check, send Leggett packing, winning the fight for Hoover Dam, completing the NCR ending, and grabbing that sweet platinum trophy for one of my all-time favorite games. Eureka! And the platinum trophy as Fallout New Vegas base game done. But yeah, this was a banger. This was so much fun to revisit. It ran surprisingly smoothly, except for those bugs towards the end. Like some frame rate hitches here and there, but this ran so much better than Fallout 3 for me. It's still my favorite Fallout. I loved it. Bring on the DLC. So, after 35 hours in total and 11 years in the making, what did I think of Fallout New Vegas' Platinum and the game in general? Yeah, hands down, this was the far superior experience over Fallout 3 for me. I had the game crash on me 2 times in total and only encountered that one very well-known quest bug at the end with the NCR. Sure, the pop-in can be crazy bad at times and the frame rate can definitely take a dip, but nowhere near as bad as the performance of Fallout 3, and that's something that I'm so happy was the case. I've said it many times in this video, but I'll say it again. I love Fallout New Vegas. It got me to love Fallout, and during this Platinum experience, it really showed me just how special this game can be. For me, it's the perfect Fallout game. It's got a great story, a lot of really interesting factions, and as a result, consequences for your actions, plenty of different ways to approach most quests, quality companions, crazy side quests, a beautiful wasteland to explore, banger of a soundtrack that sadly I can't play in this video for obvious reasons. It was awesome and just a great time to revisit this game that I knew at the time was a straight banger, but it's always good to know a game really holds up well in what made it special. In terms of the platinum, for the most part, this was a great time too. Outside of the 10k challenges, especially healing and some trial and error with the NCR ending, this let me experience New Vegas to the fullest. Explore the Mojave, stumble across quests I'd completely forgotten about, doing some good old gambling which always tripped me up back in the day, putting my knowledge to the test with a hardcore speedrun. It was a blast, I loved it, and I'm really gonna have to get onto either finding or picking up another Ultimate Edition copy, or just sucking it up and buying all the DLC on PSN, because I'm not quite done with the Mojave just yet. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, make sure to leave a comment with a big iron to let me know that you made it to the end. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below and let me know if you'd be interested in a DLC cleanup video for New Vegas. I mean, I'm down for it. Shout out to the channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to the members of the Bear Club: AIDS Grey J, Dark Wolf, Zafado, Lug Knight, Golden Sparrow, Lord Alex, Kuzma, Jarvis McGee, Steel Vanguard, and Briganius. Thank you all, and I'll catch you in the next one.